Hi comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video, and it's time for my March 2022 10 comics I think could rise in value in the next year. Okay, so this is a video that I do once a month. I haven't yet reached a year, so I haven't had to review any of my selections yet, but we're getting close to that time when I'm going to see how I did. Right, so my selections this month. Now, last year when I was doing my suggestions, I think a Moon Knight appeared in a lot of my suggestions, but for the last two or three, I haven't put any Moon Knights in because I think Moon Knight is now hitting its peak just before the TV series comes out. So there haven't been any Moon Knights on my spec list for about 2 to 3 months. What is appearing on my spec list at the moment is the Submariner Namor, because I think we're going to see Namor in the Wakanda Forever film that's coming out at the end of this year. So in a year's time, I think Namor comics will have gone up. So you are seeing quite a few Namor comics in my spec list, and indeed we're going to start this month's selection with two Namor comics, the first of which is Submariner number 50. This is the first appearance of a character called Namorita. Now, Namorita is a sort of half cousin of Namor. She is the clone daughter of a lady called Namora. And she's a fairly major Marvel character. She goes on and she's actually a founding member of a team called the New Warriors. And she is a sort of environmental activist. So I think if we get Namor appearing in the MCU, I don't think it's going to be too long before we get Namorita. So here we go. This is my first my first selection. I'm going to suggest you go for something like a 6.0, either raw or graded. In a raw state for a sort of 6.0, I think you'll currently pay about £60, $85, and for a graded copy, currently just checked it up, for a 6.0 you will pay about $200 or about £140. So there is my first pick. Right, and my second pick is another Namor comic. This one's a bit cheaper. You can probably pick a raw of this up. So that, what is it? Well, it is Super Villain Team Up number 1. And this has got two of my favourite Marvel characters in. It's got Namor and Doctor Doom. Now, I think this is really, really good spec because I think we will get Doctor Doom in the MCU at some stage. It's almost a certainty. And we are getting Namor, and here they are in their own comic together. You can still pick up a high grade raw of this for about $50, and on eBay at the moment there is a 9.6 of this available for a CGC 9.6 available for $200. I think this is really good spec. I'm pretty sure this one is going to rise in value, if not in the next 12 months, certainly in the next 2 to 3 years. So there we go, that's my second pick, Super Villain Team Up number 1. Right, next pick up, it's really cheap, it's a relatively new comic. This for me, it's a cover pickup. It's really nice. This is by one of my favourite current artists. This is Wonder Girl number 1 from last year, from May 2021, so it's about a year old. You can still pick this up for just about cover price. There are a couple of graded copies. So I think you can still pick this up for about $5. If you want a slabbed one, you can get a 9.8 for about $50. So Carla Cohen artwork on Wonder Girl number 1, really cheap pickup at the moment. I think this could increase in value in the next year. Right, now then, and the next one I'm going to show you, remember you saw it here first. I don't think anybody else has spec'd this one. And we have got a new Star Trek series coming up. I think it's around August time. And it is starring Captain Pike. So it's the sort of voyages of the Enterprise pre-Kirk, where Christopher Pike was captain of the Star Trek. They're saying they're taking it back to the roots. It's going to be, we're going to have, it's going to be episodic. It's going to be about hope and optimism. And I think with the world as it is at the moment, with the war in Ukraine, what we need is a bit of old-fashioned Star Trek. So I'm hoping the new series is going to do that. I think it's called something like Brave New Worlds, something like that. Anyway, where does Captain Pike make his first appearance in comics? Well, I'll tell you where I think it is. Now, somebody can correct me if they think I'm wrong, but I think his first appearance is here in Star Trek Annual #1, The First Mission. And in this comic, we see Captain Pike and his crew handing over the Enterprise to Captain Kirk. So there we go. I think this is the first appearance of Captain Pike in comics. I don't think anybody has cottoned on to this. You can get this for virtually nothing. Myself, Alan, my fellow price variants, and me have been picking this one up when we see it. So I get out there and find the copies before we buy them. You can still buy this for $5 or less in raw condition. There's only about 10 graded. Nobody's bothered to grade this, so I don't think you'll find a graded copy, but don't bother. Go and buy a high grade raw. It won't cost you very much. First appearance of Captain Pike in comics. I think with the new Star Trek series coming up, with the main character being Captain Pike, this is going to go up. Right, and remember you heard it here first. Right, now then, next one, and this is pure spec on my behalf. Another cheapish comic. It's Power Girl 1, really nice artwork by Amanda Connor. I think there is an Adam Hughes variant for this, which is more expensive. Why do I think Power Girl? I think Power Girl has to appear in the DCU at some stage. I think she'd be a really good character to appear in the next Peacemaker series. I think it would be good fun. The Power Girl is known for a couple of her special features. And I think that could go well with Peacemaker's tighty whities. Right. So a Power Girl #1 like this, high grade raw, it will cost you about $10. So there you go. Who knows? I think we will get Power Girl at some stage. And for $10, I think it's a pretty good buy. Right, next up, and I don't know if you hear the news, but Amazing Fantasy 15 is just going crazy. A 1.5 just sold for nearly $40,000. It is crazy. Right. I'm never going to own an Amazing Fantasy 15. I am not going to spend $40,000 on a 1.5. But I think these high prices for these comics mean that the reprints, I think will go up in value. Here's one of my favourite reprints of Amazing Fantasy 15. I've mentioned this series before. It's Marvel Tales. This is Marvel Tales 137. I think I paid £8 for this, about $12. I've just checked on eBay. You can get one of these high grade raw for about $20. I think you could probably find a 9.8 grader, but I'd go for the raw, around $20. You're getting a reprint of Amazing Fantasy 15. If, like me, you're never going to own the original, getting one of these reprints is not a bad idea. Right, okay, next up, and this is, we've heard, those of you who are not aware, the artist George Perez unfortunately has got terminal cancer. I'm showing one of his books that's my personal favourites. And he wrote this comic, Wonder Woman, I think for 60 odd issues. This is Wonder Woman #1, brilliant cover by George Perez. And he was known for writing Wonder Woman. I think he wrote this, into issue something like 62 or 63 over quite a long period of time. There are some fantastic covers. This is one of my favorites. You can still pick up this high grade raw for about $50. And I just checked on eBay. There's a 9.8 out there at $260. I think this is good spec. I think this is a good short-term, medium-term and long-term investment. So there we go. Wonder Woman #1, artwork by George Perez. Right, and we're getting towards the end now. Now my next two are quite interesting. They are both comics that basically I'm putting on this list because they've gone down in price dramatically. And the real trick, as in the stock market, is to buy low, sell high, okay? These two next comics are currently low, and I think will go back up. Okay, the first is Sandman 8. This is the first appearance of Death. Now, I am suggesting you buy this in a CGC 9.2. You can currently get a CGC 9.2 of this for $130. Now, in July last year, this was selling for $350. So the 9.2 has gone down from $350 to $130. Now is the time to buy this. We're getting the Sandman TV series. If Death is any good, this will go back up. So buy the dip on Sandman #8, first appearance of Neil Gaiman's Death. Currently, you can get a 9.2 for $130. It's a bargain. Right, now next up, here is one where I've learnt some lessons, and now is the time to buy this, not when I bought it. Right, okay, it is Champions #1, and I'm suggesting a 9.8. Right, I bought this raw for $30 last year and sent it off to CGC for grading. At the time, this did cost you $30 raw, and if it had been graded 9.8 in May, June last year, I could have got $500 for this. Right, today you can buy this raw for $10, so a third of what I paid for it, and you can get a 9.8. Listen to this, it was $500. You can now pick up a 9.8 graded of this for $90. Okay, I'm not selling mine. I'm waiting for it to go back up. But if you haven't got one of these, I think this will go back up. I think this is a good spec book. And it's gone down in value from $500 to $90. This is the time to buy, guys. Buy the dip. Don't be like me, an idiot, and buy at the peak. Go and buy the dip. So, Champions #1, 9.8, $90. There you go. No, we've got one more. One more, sorry. That was #9. The last one, it's a Swamp Thing one. Swamp Thing, I think, is good spec. DC have had a good few movies. They've had Peacemaker. They've had the latest Batman movie. They've got some good TV series going on at the moment. Could we see Swamp Thing again? Maybe. Why do I like this? Well, it's a homage to House of Secrets 92, the first appearance of Swamp Thing, but it's even better than that, because in here we have got it reprints the entire story from House of Secrets 92, the first appearance of Swamp Thing, with artwork by Bernie Wrightson, story by Len Wein. And this is currently, you can pick up a high grade raw of this for about, well, $5 to $10, frankly. And if you want a 9.8, this one currently are selling for around about $150. So there you go. That's my last pick for March 2022, my 10 spec comics. As always, folks, this is speculation. The value of comics can go up, can come down. Buy what you like. And enough said.